I will tell you about this. That's the result of a project, a multidisciplinary project that was done in the Amazon, on the Amazon River, in the floodplain of the Amazon River. It's an interdisciplinary project with French and Brazilian participants. You can show the next one, which is the location. So that's on this curve on the Amazon near Santarém. You see the curve. You can see the next. We can see the detail of the next slide. So that's the curve of the Amazon. Santarém is on the right side to the east, and that's about 200 kilometers long. So part of the light gray part is flooded part of the time. So the characteristic of the floodplain is that half of the year there are floods, and the other half there's a recession. So this type of environment is very rich, with a very rich biodiversity, but it has a high vulnerability. Okay, you can see the next one. So that's the discipline of the project. That was the research boat. Marie-Paule Bonnet, who led the project, is a hydrologist, and Annamária, Lammel, and I are anthropologists. And I led one of the part of one work package of the project on the perception of environmental change. You can see the next one. With this seasonal fluctuation, flood and recession, the people who have been living there for several centuries have been used to the normal fluctuations, and they adapt their activities to these fluctuations. Like when it's flooded, they have these suspended herb pots. They have also suspended pigsties, and so they can have a few plants while it's flooded. And when it's there's a recession, they make roof again for the várzea, the floodplain houses. There are some parts which are totally flooded, and they rebuild the roofs on the small houses that they have on these places that they go only for the dry period. So the next one, you see in the next slide, you can see the difference of Várzea village with a church. In the dry season, you have like a pasture, and in the flood period, you need a boat to go to the houses. But in 2014, this church was totally destroyed by the flood. So normally in the dry season, you can grow fast-growing plants on the land that emerges, and it's very fertile. There are plants like corn that so they grow very well. You can leave cattle to graze on this land, and during the flood season, the fish comes from the Amazon, and so at the middle of the flood season, people fish, and then when the water recedes, the fish gets trapped in some parts, so it's very easy to catch. So it's very abundant. And during the flood, so the cattle has to go on to the farmland, And the agriculture also is done on the firm land. But the problem with the flood, as I tell you, it can destroy houses and fields. And usually, next slide, usually there were extreme floods every year that could destroy houses and trees. But recently, there have been much more frequent extreme events and a higher level of the floods. So there were extreme floods in the years which are indicated, and especially in 2009 and 2012, the level went very high. So this man shows you how the level of the flood came and it went into the houses. And there have been also extreme droughts. And in 2015, it was terrible. Next one. So there are for these people who live close to the water, the rhythm of the floods is very important. So the frequency, the new frequency of extreme flood has had an impact on their activities and also on their occupation of land. But there are also all kinds of other social and environmental changes that go together with these floods. So first, there's an increase of the population. As I showed you, there are about 30,000 people living in that area. They are called riberinos, riverine people. They are mestizo people. They descend from Indians, freed slaves, and Portuguese who went to settle there. And they settled in the areas which had not been taken by big planters. And some people prefer to settle along the floodplain, along the lake, to have access to this abundance of fish and these fertile lands. But from the 1940s to about 1980s, there was a cultivation of jute for commercial purpose that led to very high deforestation. And then it was cassava agriculture that was the people sold the cassava flour to Santarém. And so there was a deforestation also on firm land. But after 2000, agriculture decreased in favor of fishing. Previously, there was no ice to sell to preserve the fish to sell outside of the lake. They only salted it. So then they started fishing more for commercial fishing, and also fishing companies from outside came to fish in this area, which is, as I told you, very abundant in fish. So some species have totally declined have almost disappeared from some parts of the lake, like pirarucu, which is a huge fish that can be about 3 meters long. It's very appreciated all around the Amazon area. So that has totally declined. And the abundance of fish in general has declined. There has been also an increase of the cattle raising, which has caused more deforestation. And the people in the project who analyzed the satellite images saw that there was deforestation caused by agriculture from 1980 to 2000, and then it was really in favor of grazing land. Next one. Next, yeah. So the decrease of the forest surface has got also an impact on the small rivers, less diversity and abundance of plant and animals. Some animals are not seen anymore, like jaguars. Also the water, which people used to drink the water from the lake. They say it's not clean anymore. It itches when they bathe. It's muddy in the rainy season. And the scientists in the project found out that there's quite a lot of cyanobacteria in this water. At the climate, as far as climate is concerned, they observe higher temperature that they think that's due to deforestation, more irregular rainfalls, more thunderbolts, and changes in the arrival of the rainy season. So scientists attribute these floods and this extreme drought to climate change because they have a general view of the whole Amazonian region. But people in this area have a very pragmatic, are very pragmatic. They are very pragmatic observations. So they don't extrapolate. They say they don't interpret what they haven't seen. So as flood depends on the water of the Amazon, on the rain upriver, it doesn't depend much on the abundance of the water of the rains at the local precipitations. So they don't connect climate change with increase of floods. You can show the next one. For them, the extreme floods are due to deforestation upriver, and Marie-Paule Bonnet thinks it's very likely to. So people with these major floods, they're moving away from the Várzea. There are less islands which are inhabited. They don't cultivate anymore the lake shores, all these flooded places, because they have lost too many plants, especially parent plants, and they take the cattle more to the firm land, so they are increasing deforestation. So, for instance, in this house that we see, the people rebuilt it a meter higher after the 2012 flood. So you can see on the next slide the map with the red line is how people have moved more inland. The people who were on the lake in the Várzea, lots of them who had cattle there moved out from there and are taking during the flood season, or have moved permanently more inland. Okay, so the next one, and it's going to be finished. So the social and environmental changes totally interact with each other, and it's important to collect local people observation and correlate them with scientific observation and establish dialogue, what we've done during this project. So we wonder, these people are probably the ones who've adapted better to environmental changes because they are in a fluctuating environment. But the changes are now more rapid and stronger, so we can wonder whether they will adapt. They will keep adapting so long. Okay, that's it. Next one we were founded by the Foundation for Research for Biodiversity from France. That's it. Thank you.